Hi, this is Alex Helmbrecht, the Sports Information Director at Chadron State College, and I'm sitting here this morning with Chadron State head football coach Jay Long. We always meet on Monday mornings, and usually we kind of have a day or so to digest the game that happened previously on a Saturday afternoon. That's not the case today. The Eagles played a game on Sunday because of some extenuating circumstances. The Chadron area and much of the Panhandle received quite a bit of snow on Friday evening, and then so the call was put out to many of the redshirt freshmen, some community members, Chadron State coaching staff, and a few athletic personnel. Cleared Elliott Field, got it done by about 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, but of course the game was scheduled for 1:30, so that meant the game was pushed back to noon on Sunday. So, Coach, first of all, thank you for helping to organize that so we could get the homecoming game played, but really a credit to you, your staff, and to your players who prepared all week long to play a game on Saturday, and they played that game on Sunday. Ended up being a 31-0 shutout. Wouldn't think that anything had changed.
You know, I guess first off, I'd like to just thank our redshirt freshmen. We got up at I think it was like 5:30, and we got on the football field at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, and we were truly hoping to have it cleared by game time. And 9 hours later, and one of our kids is very, very good at math, and he came up with the equation somehow, and thought we moved right around 620 tons of snow off the football field. And even if he's wrong a couple tons, there was a ton of snow on the football field, and it took us a long time to get it off. And I want to thank those guys for moving him, because it was a lot of work. And if they wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't have been able to have the game at all.
And looking at the game, as I mentioned, CSC won 31-0 over Adams State. It was the first shutout a Chadron State team had since 2008. Interestingly enough, that shutout in 2008 was against Colorado State University-Pueblo, the team the Eagles will host this week. So there's a correlation there. But really, the Eagles controlled from the get-go, forced Adams State into a 3-and-out, and then on the first offensive play, quarterback John McClain hit Nathan Ross for a 48-yard touchdown down the sideline. A few drives later, the Eagles kicked a field goal and then turned it on in the second quarter, scoring 2 more touchdowns. Really put the game out of reach, but a credit to your defense. They played well the entire time and got that shutout, which I know is always one of their goals.
Oh, yeah, I thought our defense, just did a terrific job of flying around, stopping their run and making them one-dimensional. And when you look at it, Adams State, was really trying to figure out something that could work. They rotated a lot of quarterbacks, and no matter which quarterback came out there, I thought our guys did their job. And when you look at it, Dylan Furrier had 15 tackles. He had 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. I think he had a fumble recovery too, and just had an outstanding day. He was all over the football field, and really proud of him. Also, McCarthy at that defensive end position, he got 2 quarterback sacks, which I thought was just huge. He really did a great job of rushing the quarterback. Got a couple hurries also, and he had that tackle that he was going against, really scrambling on what was going to happen, whether he was going to get a speed move, a bull move, or a quick move, and it was just really nice to see that.
It really was an even game despite the score. Adams State had 265 yards of total offense. Chadron State had 287. The Grizzlies ran almost about 20 more plays than the Eagles, though. And so, as Coach mentioned, the defense really did step up to the plate there and performed well. As he mentioned, Dylan Furrier had 15 tackles. Shea Cook had 13. I believe that's his 4th game this season where he's gone double-digit tackles, which is something that does not happen quite often, to be honest with you. And so Shea's definitely having a great senior season. The Eagles were led offensively again by Glenn Clinton. He rushed for over 100 yards the 5th straight game, finished with 116 yards, and he scored a touchdown. His touchdown, though, there might be some controversy within his team. Jake McCrary, starting left tackle, swears that he scored the touchdown as Glenn fumbled near the goal line. I looked at it on film, though, and I'm sorry, Jake, I think Glenn scored it. What are your thoughts on that play?
I concur with you. Yeah, I'm on that one. So we'll let Jake, keep thinking. But I'm sure Glenn would probably give up a touchdown. He has a few on the season.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. Glenn would gladly do that just because he's a good teammate. But those offensive linemen love scoring touchdowns. They crave it, and Jake certainly celebrated like he scored one on Saturday. So we can let him live on that. Coach, kind of moving away from Adams State, really probably the biggest game in the conference this week when the Eagles host Colorado State University-Pueblo. That'll be a noon kickoff Pueblo really has been the toast of the RMAC the last few years, much as like Chadron was prior to that. Pueblo is the 5th-ranked team in the nation. They're 5-0, 3-0 in the conference, just like Chadron State. They're ranked 5th in the nation. They just received a vote to be the number 1 team in the nation. They, of course, have been number 1 at different times the past couple years. They've advanced to the playoffs, have represented the RMAC very well. But kind of an interesting caveat to this game is Pueblo has won 31 consecutive games in the regular season, and inside that 31 is 25 straight in the RMAC. As Coach remembers, the Eagles currently own the RMAC record for winning 27 straight games in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, and so this is a major game for both programs.
Before we move on to Pueblo, I also wanted to make sure that I address. I thought our kicking game did a really good job versus Adams State. I was really proud of Zach Smith. He averaged 41 yards on his punting, and really, has been coming on these last 2 games, and I'm excited to see that. And I was really proud of how he punted. Also, our kicker, Zach Wentz, had a really good day, versus Adams. To answer your question, as far as Pueblo goes, yeah, I mean they've got a good program. They got a really good building a good tradition, and when you look at it, our seniors have never beaten Pueblo, and I know that's something that's very important to us and something that's on our goals, and it's something that we know that we got to play our best game against them and limit the errors and all those type of things and go out there and compete.
The Eagles have won in their rich history over 180 games against Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference opponents. Pueblo is currently the only RMAC member that has football that the Eagles don't have a winning record against. So with a team like that, especially with the rich history that we have here at Chadron State, you're probably not worried about preparing your team mentally for the game, but what do you kind of go into a rivalry week like this? How do you prepare yourself?
I would think the biggest thing we focus on is just do what we can control and executing. I mean, those are the 2 things that we always talk about as a team. Is that it doesn't matter what they do; it's what we do, and make sure that we do it as the best we possibly can. And when you look at our teams and the teams that have always played here, effort is something that's always been number 1 on our list, and it's what we've always been about: is outworking out-hitting, and outplaying our opponent. And when we look at it here, Pueblo's a great football team, and our guys are excited to go play them, and we're excited to go up and compete against them. And both of us right now, both teams are coming off of big wins, and it's going to be good to have them at home.
The Eagles and Thunderwolves, when they meet, has always been exciting. The last 2 of the last 3 games have gone to overtime, including last year's 45-38 setback in Pueblo. The Eagles controlled much of that game. However, Pueblo kind of caught fire there at the end and scored in overtime and held the Eagles outside of the end zone. So this is certainly a prime-time matchup for the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference and probably one of the best Division II games of the season.
I would think that it's one of the best matchups right now in the country going on in Division II football. Especially when you compare it to like a Division I. When you compare it to the Division Is, if you had 2 ranked teams playing, they'd have ESPN game day there, and there would be sold out crowds and all that type of stuff. And I know that with us going against Pueblo, we're going to have a great crowd at our game, and we are really excited to play them. And when you look at here on statistics, out of all the games we played, the highest attendance game has been our game at home, and we know that people come out and support us, and they're great football against a great football team, and we're looking forward to this weekend.
Well, it'll be you can never really predict what's going to happen, but I think I can go out on a limb and say that it'll be a physical, hard-fought, well-played football game. So we're hoping to have a great crowd there at Elliott Field to support the Eagles. And best of luck to you, Coach, against Colorado State University Pueblo. That'll kick off Saturday at noon.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday.